Okay, I think we're recording now. All right. Now, for the second video, let's do free VSTs. You're going to need them. So, the first one is TDR Nova. Tokyo Dawn Records. Okay. TDR Nova. Windows installer, Mac package. Okay, so you can do Windows, Mac, Window and Mac. Okay. This is a parametric EQ. Dynamic equalization, frequency, selective compression, multi-band. Okay, whatever. What you want to do. And here's all, of course, Nova features, helpers, workflow, blah, blah. Here's the whole idea behind this is right here, which you can't hear. So this was designed as a all right. So, sorry. This was designed for music, but it is free, so it is a parametric EQ, which you really want. So, accept it, download it, and it's got its own installer. Okay, so that's the first one. Tokyo Dawn Records, TDR Nova. All right. Loudmax is a limiter. And it's very nice. Loudmax.blogspot.net or .com, sorry. Right there, okay? It also is Windows 32 and 64-bit, Mac 32 and 64-bit. You can have the AU plugin for a Mac, which is 32 and 64-bit. Loudmax, download it, we'll install it. It's got its own installer. No, Loudmax does not have its own installer. Tokyo Dawn Records, TDR Nova, has its own installer. If you're on a 64-bit system, it will install the 64-bit DLL, and it will install the 32-bit DLL in both the 64 and 32-bit folders. We'll go over that because Loudmax we have to do ourselves. All right, so that's Loudmax. The other one is Klangem. Where is it? Sorry, it always takes me a minute here. MJUC. MJUC Junior, which is here, and it is also free. Klangem. All right. This is a compressor, and it works very good. It is also, here's your Windows installer, here's your Mac installer. These are free. Banana is a donationware. These are free. Totally different approach. Donationware. Remember, these people put money into it. They put time and effort into it. If you got it, donate. They just, personally, I think they love to do it, but, Okay. There is, what is it? I think it's VST for free. VST for free. All right. Remember this one because if you need if you have a lot of ambient noise in the background, there should be VST effects. There should be, that's instruments. In here somewhere, drum synths, instruments, don't want instruments, samplers, don't want samplers, synths, you don't want synths. In here should be, somewhere in here is expanders. That's what I was looking for. There's a couple expanders, and I really want to hit the expander. I'm not seeing keyword searches there. Expander. Okay. This is stereo expander limiter, which you can use. I have not used it. It is in 64-bit. It tells you everything that there is here. 64-bit, 32-bit, VST, and Apple. I'll pull up this one because I downloaded this one. I haven't had a chance to try it yet. Let me explain to you a little bit what an expander is. An expander can be a noise gate. An expander helps eliminate background noise. We're going to end up eliminating a lot of background noise, ambient background noise. This gets the mid-range, can get the high range a little bit too, but it's more for, I use it more for mid-range background noise rather than low. And we'll explain that. But on this, I will explain this to you. The attack, you want it to be about, I think about 8 milliseconds. Pretty quick, right? You can actually go a little faster. You'll have to experiment. The release, around 10 milliseconds, 8 milliseconds. So you want a really fast attack. You want a semi-fast release. Threshold. Threshold becomes the most important part here. 30, 40 dB. Okay? It goes down to negative 80. You want to start your threshold, you want 30 to 80, depending on how, again, depending on how noisy your environment is. Your slope, you want no more than 1.15 to 1. Okay? No more than 1.15 to 1. And you're going to want medium to soft. Okay? Medium to soft. What this does is there's a lot of ambient. There's an expander on this microphone being used now. If I open this door, you'll hear the fans running to keep the air circulating. All right? With the door closed, you won't be able to hear it because I have an expander on it to eliminate that fan noise. All right? I usually don't have the fans running, but today I do. So VST for free, it has 64-bit, has Mac, 32-bit. I'm not trying to avoid Macs. It's just I do not play on Macs. I do not own a Mac. So Twisted Wave, GarageBand. It's what I know. As far as recording software, that's what I know. So, again, all depends. And you'll find out why it depends. Okay? Honestly, when we get through this, you'll find out why. Okay, the next piece of software. Get rid of the R. Cantabile. Cantabile? Cantabile. Cantabile. Hey, learn how to pronounce, man. Cantabile. Cantabile. All right. Cantabile. Download this. Okay? During the installation, during or after, can't remember, you will be prompted for your name and an email address. They will email you a key code. All right? You will input that key code. It will give you 3 options: light, solo, performer. Performer being at the top, solo, and then light. Light is free. Choose the light. Trust me, it works out fine and dandy. I've already set this up, so I'll go through it a little bit more to show you how to do it. Again, I'll go through it to show you how to do it, but it's actually fairly simple. It takes really no time. Actually, no, it takes a lot of time. But, so Cantabile, all right? All right. So when you go to set up, let's go through the VSTs first. All right. As I said, I always download and extract the packages, the zip folders, right? So there's TDR Nova, Voice Meter, MJUC Junior, Loudmax, right there, okay? These are all the extracted files. TDR Nova is its own setup. Run it first. Just go through all the defaults. Perfectly fine. There is no spyware. There is no nothing. It is perfectly fine. It will install, if you're on a 64-bit system, it will install the 64-bit VST and the 32-bit VST. The MJUC Junior installer is the same, okay? It will install the 64-bit DLL and it will install the 32-bit DLL. Loudmax. When you extract Loudmax, this is what you get. Okay? This doesn't tell you a whole lot, does it? No, it doesn't. Let me open up this. Let me go to this PC. Remember my home drive here, right? I showed you this, the difference between the 64-bit and the 32-bit. The regular DLL file is the 32-bit. The 64 is what it says, the 64-bit DLL. Program files on a 64-bit computer are the 64-bit program files. Here's your Tokyo Dawn Labs, right? But where it installed it at was it created this folder, if it's not already in your system. It created a VST plugins folder. And it will have installed, where is it at? Your TDR Nova, right there, okay? And the MJUC Junior will have installed itself here as well, okay? The Loudmax, take that 64-bit, right-click on it, choose Copy, come down here, right-click in an empty place, and choose Paste. All right, so that takes care of the 64-bit if you're on a 64-bit system. If you're on a 32-bit or you just want the 32 bits installed, it's the same. You just go in the 32-bit folder and you choose the 32-bit DLL file. It's a copy, empty space, and it's a paste. Okay? I've already done it with the Loudmax. All right? The expander might be the same way. Don't know. But these you need for this. Okay, so the Cantabile. And I've called it many of things today. The Cantabile needs to be started, if you noticed. Why did I not close that? I don't know. I closed out Banana. Okay, I closed out Banana. The Cantabile needs to be started before you start Banana. Okay? It's on a different engine. Okay? Now, with the new Cantabile, it installs, if you're on a 64-bit system, it installs the 64-bit program and the 32-bit program. If you're on a 32-bit system, it's only going to install the 32-bit program. Open up the 64-bit program, and it will ask you to do a bunch of things. Go with the defaults. This I've already set up. So you remember the TDR Novas, the MJUC Junior number 1s, number 2, the Loudmax. These are all them. These are your plugins, okay? You're not hearing this. You're not seeing these meters move because I haven't started Banana. Once I start Banana, and I'll show you this. Once I start Banana, I'll show you. During your setup, it's going to ask you what engine to run, what audio engine. you're going to use the ASIO voice meter insert virtual ASIO. That is, hey, mustache here. That is going to be your audio engine. Okay? And yeah, you can have a control panel. These are default. Okay? Whatever you have plugged into voice meter banana will come up right here. Okay? These audio ports, it's going to want to install some audio ports for you. Go ahead, let it. All you got to do is right click on it. No, highlight it. You can delete it all day long. Okay? So delete all the old audio ports. Remember, during installation, everything is standard except for this. This you have to do. When you get Cantabile running, go into Options, Tools, Options. Okay? Delete all these audio ports in here. Then add an audio port. Do a stereo input. You have a chance to name it. Name it mic in. Okay? I just put mic the first time around. Name it mic in. Do another audio input port. These will be left blank. Okay? These will be a sign. It'll be in a little bracket and it'll say assign. Matter of fact, here. I'll just do it this way. Delete. So I want to add a stereo input port. I'm going to call it mic in, which is what I should have called it the first time. There's mic in. See, they're unassigned. I'm going to highlight them and I'm going to hit edit. And then I'm going to hit add. Left number 1 is fine for the left one. Okay? So that's fine. That's okay. So right, unassigned, edit, highlight it, edit, add. Change it from left to right, number 1. Okay? Remember when we were talking about banana? Hardware input 1, hardware input 2, hardware input 3, virtual input 1, input 1, virtual input 2. Okay? Or hardware input 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? Skype. Skype, when you do Skype, you want to Skype in. If you look, I've got in number 5 because that is the 5th input. Makes sense, right? It's the 5th input. So you got left number 5 in, right number 5 in. Now, you also have to add outputs. So you have a mic in, you want a mic out. They're exactly the same settings, exactly the same way to do it. Okay? So, okay. Failed to restart, start audio driver error. Okay, so you get a message like that, you've got to restart this. It doesn't do it without it. And then it'll go through here and say, hey, it kind of screwed up. And then you'll say, hey, no, it didn't. But yes, hey, it did. Now these two will be on top. Just grab it over here and bring it up. And then take this and go to stereo in. All right, all you're doing is drawing lines. You're connecting the dots. So it's a left mouse click and hold, take it over to stereo in. Stereo out to stereo in. Stereo out to stereo in. You're just chaining it along. This is what is called a chain. Okay? Stereo in to stereo out to mic out. All right? Skype in. Stereo in, stereo out to stereo in. Stereo out to stereo in. Stereo out to stereo in. Stereo out to Skype out. Now, if you want, here's what I'm going to show you. Anything you do up here, and you're going to do it off your microphone, whatever your microphone does, you're going to mirror everything below because it doesn't matter. These are just basic settings. Basic settings, okay? So you're just going to mirror. Double click on TDR Nova. And there's your TDR Nova. All right, you can bypass. You can get the Delta. Don't bypass because you don't want to. Now, if you look, what I've done here, this is a high-pass filter. Makes it go away. Click on it, make it blue, comes back up. 80 hertz. So this is a high-pass filter. Anything above 80 hertz goes through the chain. Okay? Low-pass filter. Anything below 14 kilohertz goes through the filter. Okay? Goes through the filter. So that means anything above 14 kilohertz and below 80 hertz goes away. So all your low-end rumbles, 80 hertz and below, all your low-end rumbles, cars, trains, distant cars, trains, whatever, goes away. Gets cut out of the mix. And all your sympathetic frequencies or aircraft, high-altitude aircraft noise goes away with the 14 kilohertz, okay? When you're setting these, I'm going to show you, I want you to solo them, all right? Now, I'm going to go through one here first, all right? One here first is a makeup, okay? It is if you're cutting out low frequencies and you're a male, you're getting rid of those low frequencies. So you got to make them up a little bit or else you sound drained, all right? This one you don't need to solo. You can just do it. So what I say is, with me, I usually do it around 200 hertz, but anywhere from 175 hertz to 200 hertz is where you're going to start. And you want a gentle slope. So this Q is actually way too much. You want a nice gentle slope. And basically, I'm just grabbing that with the left mouse button and pulling down on the mouse. So you want a nice little gentle slope there, okay? And this is a high shelf. This is a high shelf. This is your low-end high shelf. This is your high-end high shelf. Low end is over here. High end is over here. That's mid, okay? So I usually start there. In this case, to get a rise, you'll have to listen with your own ears. You'll have to have banana running, and I'll show you why. But anywhere between 175 hertz to 200 hertz is where you want to do this at. And basically it runs back until this. Now, your high pass filter, I started at 80 hertz. It's on a slope of 6 dB per octave. So it's a nice gentle slope. It's a nice gentle roll off. If I change it to 12, it gets a little steeper. If I change it to 24, that's like almost a brick wall. You can do 12 or you can do 6. In this case, I like the slope of 6, so it's not harsh. It's not a cut right off. On the low pass, since we're mainly dealing with sympathetic frequencies and frequency. Yeah, forget it. I can't say the word now. Unless we're dealing with frequencies. There we go. Unless we're dealing with a female voice, this is actually 14 kilohertz. Yeah, I went with a 12. I went a little bit steeper. You can go with a 6. Females, I would go with 6, and you can bring this up to 15 kilohertz. But 14 is, remember, these are generalizations. All you're doing is giving the audio, as one of my favorite mentors says, giving it a haircut. Okay? Do the gentle slope. If I turn this into a bell, totally changes it. So low end shelf, right? Gain's going to be dependent on you. Remember, you want it to sound like you. And these are just generals, all right? For the rest of these, go solo. So I want 2. If you look at 2, it's at 350 hertz. 350 hertz is standard on almost any microphone for being muddy, right around 300. 340, 350 hertz is a lot of mud, okay? So what I did is I did a bell, or what we're calling a notch filter. I cued it at 4, which is pretty sharp. I dropped it 2 dB, and I could drop it 2.5 if I wanted to. Now, when I unsolo this, you follow the rest of it. This comes up a little bit. This goes down, hence notch filter. It's below what the standard is. This is the 0 line. We're below. We have to go a little bit above here for some makeup in the low frequencies, okay? Another standard is usually around 1065 hertz or 1.65 kilohertz. You'll hear it, and I'll show you how to do this on the when I go over to the next one, okay? This, Inaglade. If you've never heard it, Ukrainian Inaglade. Mila Jovovich. There we go. I didn't know if I could say it right. Anywho. Where was I? Oh, yeah. Another standard, usually where there's some odd frequency mess-ups in almost any given mic, is around 1.65 kilohertz or 1065 hertz. And again, I just did the same thing. I gave it a 5 slope, which is narrower than the 4. The higher you go, the narrower it gets. I could have gone up 6. But if you take a look, so here's 200, that's 350, so that's 300. So if you look, this slope begins to come down at about 290 hertz, and comes back up about 450 hertz. So you're just eliminating the muddy frequencies. I could literally take this one and make it, by clicking in here and say 6, and tighten that frequency up. This is a generic parametric equalizer. I would probably leave it at the 6 on all of these, okay? So I would change this again. Again, all I'm going to do is go in here, click on it, left click on it, punch in 6 and hit enter, and voila, it's changed. It just narrows the frequencies up a little bit, but you're still getting rid of the unwanted frequencies. So my low pass frequency is over here at 14 kilohertz. Now, if you take a look at 4 here, 4 I've given a high shelf. So being as I cut some high frequencies out, I don't want it to sound odd, but I don't want sibilance. High frequency sibilance, S. If you boost them too much, most mics have a natural boost. Most mics these days have a natural boost in the higher frequencies. You may not need it. This one doesn't have it. It's almost complete. It's got a boost at the base level. It doesn't have a boost at the high end. So it's basically flat. Most microphones have a boost at the high frequencies, which make them sound bright. It's the word for it, bright. But it intensifies the sibilance, the S in words, like a slur, okay? In this case, being as you're cutting it off at 14 kilohertz, you can give it a little bit of a boost. Now, if you look, I had to boost it this much because if I drop this down to where it's 4.6 dB, of course, I only started it at 13 kilohertz, which is only 1,000 hertz before I cut the cutoff. It's basically flat. So I had to bring it up to give it that little rise right there, all right? Now, did you see what I just did there? I totally hosed that. Where's my low pass? Yeah, I messed that one up. I totally messed that one up because I made it hertz. We'll take care of it here in a second. 14 kilohertz there. That was 4. We've got to bring 4 all the way back over here. Yeah, be careful of this. Try not to eliminate this kilohertz here because if you do, it ends up hurting because it doesn't like putting the K hertz back in there. There we go. Just eliminate the numbers and retype. So that's a 6 again, a 0.6 Q. The lesser you do this, the more rise you get further back. Be careful of that. I like the 0.6 myself, 0.67, whatever it was. I just like the slope of it because it doesn't do it too much. It just gives you, actually, this is only giving you about a 0.2 or 2.5 dB gain in the higher frequencies. But you can see how it lifts there. It lifts there. Everything else is a cut. Okay? Okay? This I don't mess with. I don't mess with any of this. I don't mess with any of this gain. You can. You can do makeup gain. When you give it this haircut, it actually boosts the volume, believe it or not. You can give it a gain here. Instead, this is negative, and why that's negative, I don't know. That should be 0. But you can give it a gain there, you can give it a gain there, you can give it a gain anywhere you want to, and I'll show you that because we go through it. I go through it because depending on what we come to in the end. Now on this one, bypass the high pass and low pass. Bypass those because you already got it on the first one. Everything else is going to be a notch filter, okay? So what you're going to do on the notch filter is you're going to take this Q and boost it all the way up to 6. You're going to have banana running, and you're going to sit here and go through the frequencies as you're talking. Whatever sounds really out of place, I mean really out of place, like high-pitched whistles, you'll hear it. Use your own ears. Wherever you hear it, what you're going to do is you're going to stop right there. All I'm doing is clicking on this with my left mouse button and pulling it around, right? You're going to stop it right there. You're going to come down here, and you're going to put negative 2.0 or 2.5, whatever, and hit enter. Then you're done. Do it with the next one. And always do these on solos. No, on these you don't have to do them on solos. So on this one, again, instead of for a shelf, you're going to do the same thing. Raise that up. Whoa, it takes a lot here. Okay? You could actually click in here and just hit 6 and call it done instead of for using the mouse. And again, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to go through the frequencies and you're going to listen for the odd stuff. All right? When you find the odd stuff, you're going to come right here. You're going to drop it either -2 or 2.5. Then you're going to leave it alone. Okay? That's just what you're going to do. I would only do probably about 4 notch filters. So this one, depending on what you have, and this is where 0 dB, okay. Depending on what you have over here, you have 2 notch filters there. In the mid to high range, mid being in here, you're going to want to do 4 or 5 notch filters. That's it. All right? Because all we're doing is playing with horseshoes and hand grenades. That's it. That's all we're playing with. Now, we get to the compressor section. So I'm going to lose my music that I've got going in the background. Sorry. All right. We're going to bring voice meter up. Remember, you need to bring up Cantabile before you bring up voice meter. All right? Now, to get to hear Cantabile through voice meter, hit menu, go to your system options. Remember what I said, input 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? That's where you click on these. Those are your inputs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Basically, this will allow the inserts to be ran from Cantabile into voice meter to where it's affecting both the Skype and you. So you're going to set Cantabile. Oh, hey, look, now we've got, see how we've got motion over here and over here. Okay? We've got motion in both now because I turned on voice meter and told it to, hey, register this program. All right. Compressor. Right? Compressor. Do you see that compressor moving? No? Keep talking. Now do you see it moving? The only time you want this compressor to move is on the high notes. You don't want it moving much, okay? So this is probably moving way too much. You want to bring this down, and you can do it this way. I thought 11.1, the last time I ran this, was pretty good. So all you're doing is the only time it goes into effect. It's just compressing the high notes. So as you get automated is when it works, all right? That's it. That's all you want that compressor to do. Loud max. Loud max is over here. You see this setting here? -1 and -3. Leave it. All right? Just leave it. It'll love you for it. You'll love it for it. It'll be a good thing. It really will. Whatever you do up here, you do the same down here. If, and I say if by chance, you get a guest that has pro audio and their signal is already done, delete that and delete that. Right click and delete. What that will do is that will take Skype out of the system. And Banana doesn't care. Banana does not care. It really doesn't. It will still, because it's still programmed into your Skype. It doesn't care. It's not going to matter one way or the other. All it's going to do is not get the input from Cantabile. All right? Banana won't care. Banana doesn't care. But all you want to do is mirror these settings. It's generic at best. And like I said, all you do to connect them, right-click, hold, and drag. And this is an FX chain. Now, all of this is now going through here and into Banana. Okay, so, and it's only doing it on my mic because I don't have a guest talking. All of this has to be done by your ears. Remember, you want to sound like your natural self. Generically on Skype, it's just going to cut a lot of murk out of Skype and clean up the Skype itself. But you want to sound normal. And believe it or not, one setting, it pretty much can fit for all. You're just balancing out signals. That's what you're doing. You're balancing out signals. So, again, what I told you I'm using Audacity again, and I'm going to use Audacity again. What we're looking for is where we're at and what our thing is at. Where are we at? Where is everything coming in from? Like I said, you can get that plugin, the audiobook plugin, for Audacity and use it to see what your settings are. In this case, I'm going to see what they are using my RX7 program. And I'm just looking at a different way of doing things. But if you look at it, it already looks a little bit more robust. You can see where I got loud here and it compressed it down. I got loud here and it kind of sort of compressed it down. Wherever I get loud at, it's going to compress it down and keep it from clipping. As you can tell, I am not clipping at all. And never forget proximity to the mic. Okay? Because the closer you get to the mic, the louder you are. But, again, that's just what it is. All right. So I'm going to sit here and I'm going to export this out as a wave. 24-bit. It's going right into there, and I'm going to save it as untitled, and it already exists. And yes, that is fine. I am going to bring this up. I don't think I have that folder up right at the moment. I don't, so we'll bring it up, and we will put it here. So remember what I said. You're at a -192. You can be -0.5, -0.1. I personally don't care. This looks pretty good. Your dynamics, this is overall dynamics. It's pretty good. The higher this number is, the better off you are because there's more richness, there's more ambiance into the voice. This, we're still low on. this became higher, became worse. The noise floor became worse. But you can't hear that. All right? You cannot hear that this noise floor became worse. I need to be higher. But how do I get higher without affecting this? Because this is going to be proportional to this. I've only got 1.92 dB to work, and I need this to be someplace in between negative 17 to negative 18. Right? How am I going to do that? Well, that's where makeup gain comes in, my friends. Close. No. I will leave that right there. Let's go back into Cantabile. Remember this. Output gain. Here's 2 dB. Output gain. There's 2 dB. Compressor. Makeup gain. 2.5 dB. Loud max. Look how loud we're getting with loud max now. Look at how loud out we are. It's pretty loud, isn't it? Once you get those set, again, remember that file folder. So now you're going to make, inside that file folder, you're going to make another folder that's called Cantabile, right? And then what you're going to do is you're going to sit here and you're going to save the song as. And you're going to point it to that desktop, to that file folder that says Cantabile, and you're going to save it. That way, all this gets saved. If this program gets updated, if Banana gets updated, all of your system settings are saved, okay? But regardless. So if we look now, what's coming out, what's being broadcast out of Banana is like -2 to -0. We're not going above -0 or going above 0, which is fine, but we're coming in at -2, all right? But what does our Audacity say? Where does Audacity say we're coming in? Look how hot that signal is. I'm going to say that signal right now. As we're talking, as I'm talking, I'm going to say that signal, just by looking at that waveform, is probably at about close to -15. I'm going to say -15 is where it's at. -15 is really loud. Now the question is, are we going to clip? Well, I don't know if we're going to clip. I know we're getting close to 0. It all depends. Honestly, it will all depend. Because I can actually leave this loud and still turn it down using Banana. But I'm going to say, just for shits and giggles, I'm going to say I'm at -15 dB. So let's find out, shall we? Export again as a wave. That way we can get a decently true reading on it as 24. Save. It already exists. Yes. Okay. And go. So we'll bring it up and let's measure it. -16.11. So we're not too bad. Honestly, that is not too bad. Remember, I said it's proportional, but look at where our true peak is. -0.14. Not once did we clip. With the settings that we have right now, not once did we clip. I would not go into Cantabile and change this, okay? What I would do, okay, so file, close, and no. If I know that I am close to being just a dB off, I would bring my fader down to -1 dB. Oh, crap, that doesn't work when I do that. Because you've got several different programs you're doing. So either one of them really works. Honestly, it does work. All right, get out of the way. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot to check something. It should still save it, -1. This one's really, Banana is really good about saving it, but you want to save your settings. Trust me, When you go to upgrade Banana later on, everything reverts back to default. So save your settings. It's always easier. All right. So we said that I was already over about a dB the last time. I was close to a dB too high. I said I wanted to be -17 to -18 dB on my live podcast, right? So now I need to get there. I'm close to being there. I'm very close to being there. But my noise floor is also kind of messed up. Now, this is pre-production. Doesn't matter, really. If it's pre-production, it doesn't matter. If it's live, then I need to add that expander in there because that will get rid of a lot of that background noise using that expander with the settings that I set to use. But I'll show you how to clean it up in Audacity just one time, one pass. Takes care of it all. But I'm a little dry, so hey, whatever I do. I've done a lot of talking today. I may not talk for the rest of the week. All right, so that's enough audio to get a read. Let's take a look. Export as wave, 24-bit PCM. Yes. Okay. Yes, I already know. And then we go here, and then we go here. Then we go here to Untitled. Throw that in there. -17.3 by taking literally a dB. It's literally a dB from where it was. Not bad. That's exactly what you want. I'm still 1.13 true peak, where it was 1.14 at 16.11. Where I should be at this point by doing all this malarkey, and I'm still at 5.9 LU, my loudness range. So my dynamics are still there. I'm coming in at an integrated -17. I'm saying that's damn good. My noise floor is too loud. But you can fix the noise floor using, we'll shrink this down, control and mouse. Let me listen to this section right here. Oh yeah, a lot of noise. So what I want to do is I want to go to Effect, Noise Reduction, get the noise profile. Okay? Then I want to go Control A, which selects everything. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go Noise Reduction. Now remember, we were at 50, right? 50 is pretty loud for a noise floor. 60 and below is where we want to be. By just grabbing this, which is just noise, it's just the ambient noise. If you let this run for a second or two before you do anything, you can do it in that area. I didn't do that, so I just grabbed a place between words. So my noise reduction, and you want to be really, really, really light on this. You don't want to go hardcore. So I'm at 50. Let's say I want to make it to 65. I'm going to take it 15 dB. My sensitivity is only going to be true is going to be only 2. Real light, right? And I just want to reduce. All right. Now I'm going to take this file. I'm going to save it again. I'm going to export it as a wave, as 24-bit. Now, if you're using an expander during the live broadcast, it will take that noise down. You'll have to do some experimenting with it, just like you've got to do experimenting with the equalizer and everything else. There are some standards-ish, like the 350 hertz, like cutting it off at 80 hertz, like cutting off at 14 kilohertz. Those are kind of standards. The 1064 hertz. Those are kind of standards. I think the next one up is like 2040. They're kind of standards. You got to listen to see if your microphone is affected by them or your interface. There's a lot to go in there, but if you go with the generally and you do it lightly, you should be fine. I was a little heavy-handed by reducing it 15 dB. Let's see what it looks like. 67. So it actually brought it down 17 dB. It brought that noise floor down to 17 dB. What does it sound like? I don't know. Let's listen. It's not bad. For not being able to hear what I was doing on the equalizer, it's not bad. It's actually pretty clean. I don't know if, yeah, you can't hear it. With Banana running, you can't hear this. I'll let you listen to it, though. We'll do it. Okay, now remember, this is going through Cantabile. It's going through, no, I don't want to save that. It's going through Cantabile. It's going through Banana. And with my initial gain settings on my microphone, I did not want to close that out. Sorry about that. I needed my waveform statistics. So it's going through Cantabile. It's going through these plugins, right? And it's going from Banana. It's going from my microphone through Cantabile, through the inserts, back into Banana, and being broadcasted out. And it'll be the same on the Skype line for whatever your Skype settings are. Like I said, if you just mirror whatever your microphone is doing, 65% of that's going to get caught with somebody using Skype, unless they have a professional audio setup already, in which case you're just going to use the fader on the Skype line to control their volume to match up with yours using Audacity or whatever DAW you're using on this level meter. That's the only thing you're going to do is match it up with whatever yours is coming out. And again, you can bypass Cantabile with somebody that has professional audio. It won't matter to Banana. Now, I'm going to say this as a caveat. If you take the input and output and get rid of those and you've got no volume coming through Skype, go into your system setting options and get rid of 5. Just uncheck mark them. And it will run straight from Skype, bypassing Cantabile right into Banana. But again, only do that if it's somebody professional, if they have professional audio, or at least sound really, really good. But this is the way you keep track of everything, okay? This is the way you balance it all out. Use this fader for your intros, your bumper music, all that. And you can, again, using whatever you're doing here to set these. This is a permanent set. This is a permanent set. So long as this microphone is at the same gain setting in the same position every single time, that's a set, okay? You can be about an inch off one way or another, depending on your microphone. If it's a dynamic, not so much. If it's a condenser, yeah, but then you got to worry about a lot of ambient background noise. But you can be roughly half an inch off, so long as your mic placement is the same, so long as your gain is the same on your audio interface, this can stay the same. Nothing needs change. Skype will always have to be changed with your guest. All right, now I'm going to close this. Remember, Cantabile has to be started first. And you can see the CPU load. You can see the load that Cantabile is putting on the computer. The time load. All right, all of that can be done. Do you want to save your changes? Yes. All right. Let me do this. Look, 46 for the first. It's still got an hour and 7 minutes for the first video, and I'm working on the second one to upload. But since I don't have licensing, you can't hear that. Now, here's what I'm going to do for you. I am going to turn on my computer audio, which will now work since I've closed Banana. And I'm going to play for you what was recorded, what you saw. All right. So we said that I was already over about a dB the last time. I was close to a dB too high. I said I wanted to be negative 17 to negative 18 dB on my live podcast, right? So now I need to get there. I'm close to being there. I'm very close to being there. But my noise floor is also kind of messed up. Now, this is pre-production. Doesn't matter, really. If it's pre-production, it doesn't matter. If it's live, then I need to add that expander in there because that will get rid of a lot of that background noise using that expander with the settings that I set to use. But I'll show you how to clean it up in Audacity just one time, one pass.
Wow,
takes care of it all.
Audacity.
But I'm a little dry, so hey, whatever I do. I've done a lot of talking today. I may not talk for the rest of the week. All right, so that's enough audio to get it There you go. That's using those plugins to clean up the audio, and it works the same on Skype. Just saying, it's a shocker. It works the same on Skype. So there you are. There's your deal. I hope this helps you. That's what it's meant for, is to help you out. So, yeah, good luck. These, like I said, these videos are there to let you know what's going on. And I did it under an hour instead for 2 hours. It'll still take 2 hours to load up on YouTube, but whatever. So, with any luck, I hope this helps. If not, to get you set up, if not as a guideline, then to give you a refresher saying, hey, that's what's kind of not working right. I've had that before. I had it a couple weeks ago. Sorry, I'm not naming names. You know who you are. I had that a couple weeks ago. I was in bed. I had to get up and go to work the next morning. You know, somebody was running their podcast and it couldn't go because they couldn't get it. Next weekend, like 4 days later, 30 minutes, done. But this is to help you get set up. If you want decent audio on your podcast that isn't all over the place, if you're running a live podcast, be careful of what you're running because as you're running it, like I said, it's a lot of load on the system. So I've got an 8-core CPU, 3.5 terabytes of hard disk. I'm running music in the background on a browser. The browser eats up a lot of CPU and other stuff. I don't want to listen to that. I like it, but I don't want to listen to it. I don't want to listen to that one either. But that'll work. So it eats up a lot of processor and memory. All right. Minimally, you're going to have to set those buffers way high. So you're running a CPU. Let's say you're running a CPU 2007-ish to 2011-ish. You're running 4 gigs of RAM or 8 gigs of RAM. Those buffers in Banana you're going to have to set really high because you have to have Cantabile and Banana running at the same time. Plus you've got Skype running, okay? And if you've got a browser open where you're running a chat and chatting with people and all this, it's going to suck it's going to suck the system to pieces, okay? I mean, literally, just the OBS software that I'm recording with and running all that took up 50% of my system utilities. 16 gigs of RAM. 3.5 terabytes of hard disk. And one of them, the primary, is a standard solid state. 8-core CPU running at, 3.87 megahertz? Or gigahertz? Whatever it is. Gigahertz. Anywho, so it was using 57% with Cantabile, Banana, OBS, and a 2 to 4 browser tabs open. Just saying. Be careful of what you do. You can run Cantabile, you can run Banana, you can run Skype and Audacity if you need to on a minimal system, okay? 4 gigs of RAM, I think you'd probably be pushing it. 8 gigs, you'd be much better off. But 4 gigs, I think you'd be pushing it, but I think you can do it. Don't run Audacity. Use the tape recorder portion of Banana to record with if you're going to do that. If you're going to run it on those minimal system specs, do it that way, okay? You can do it with a 2 gigahertz processor that only has like 2 to 4 cores. You can. It'll work. 4 gigs of RAM, it might get finicky. You're going to have to adjust the buffer settings. Just saying. I tried to pick the stuff with the least amount of CPU and RAM usage. Okay? But you just have to experiment with what you have. All of it's either donationware or freeware. If you have it to donate it, donate it. If not, don't feel guilty. Use it. That's what they did it for. Use it. All right? That's why I did this video, so you guys can use it. That is an hour. Wow, the last one was 2. All right. Enjoy. I'm going to upload this in a second. Hope this helps.